The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Josh Murphy has the ability to single-handedly keep Pompey in the Championship this season. That's the verdict from George Ellick and Ali Maxwell on the respected Not the Top 20 podcast, who reckon the winger will be the difference for the Blues this term, if he can stay fit. John Mousinho's side are going through a worrying patch at the moment, picking up just one win in their last 11 matches. It's seen Pompey drop down the championship table in recent weeks, and injury problems aren't helping the head coach's situation. The Blues have already missed Murphy badly during the opening weeks of the season, with the 30-year-old out for 6 games with an ankle injury. Since coming back against Stoke last month though, the forward has put in some really impressive performances against Wrexham and Hull City. Even though Mousinho's side are hovering near the relegation zone, Ellick was full of praise for Murphy and reckons the former £11 million man has the quality to keep Pompey up. Speaking on the latest episode of the Not the Top 20 podcast, he said, "Surely one of the assists of the season, one of the best bits of wing play you'll ever see at this level or any level from Josh Murphy, who picked up the ball on the left, stood up coil, and just glided past him before whipping in this left-footed cross. When Murphy hits the ball like that, the pace and bend he gets on it with such confidence, it's hit with real conviction. Because he's so good, he's got complete belief in his ability to cross like that. Obviously not all of them come off, but I've watched a lot of Josh Murphy live, and even the ones that don't quite work out, the way they're hit causes panic. I know Portsmouth are struggling to find positives right now, but him being fit and playing and looking this sharp, it's going to bring points at some stage. He'll win points for Portsmouth on his own if he stays fit in the coming weeks, because he's that good. If you think his left foot is good, he's brilliant on both feet, and such a unique threat going outside or cutting inside. Hull deserved the win in the end, though Pompey had a couple of chances right at the death to nick a point. Pompey fans are understandably worried at the moment and trying to work out where the wins are going to come from, because right now they're really struggling.
When we get all our injured players back, then things will be turned right side down, if you see what I mean. They're upside down at the moment because we're picking a side that is full of players starting who wouldn't ordinarily start. And when you do that to any side, and I know lots of other clubs have got injury problems, when you do that to any side and you take out players who are not peripheral players, they're not on the edge between the bench and the starting 11, they are players who would be starting. Okay, Sejic came on as a sub, the last 2 or 3 appearances he made, but he had an impact. And he was such a fan's favourite during the first 3, 4, 5 games that he played. A lot of people, ourselves included, visualised him being a nailed-on starting player from start to finish. But then we strengthened the squad even further, and he's a young man who's still learning his craft, and I think he probably recognised that there was still work for him to do, and he was going to learn from the likes of Chaplin and Swift. As things stand, when he's back and he's fit, they may have to sit on the bench and learn some things from him. We will see. But when we get the Langs back of this world, and the Shaughnessy's back, and the Schmidt's back, I know that Bosick has played superbly well and made some fantastic saves. His kicking is getting better and better, but Schmidt is Schmidt, and we need him back. We need all our injured players back, especially Murphy. We don't want to be worried about him not being 100% fit and therefore not being able to finish the game. So maybe he ought not start it even, and we can bring him on if and when we need him. And at the moment we need him from the start of the game right through to the finish. And is that taxing his 30-year-old body too much? Let's hope not. All of those things. When we're all fit and fine and wonderful and well again, we can give anybody in the Championship a game. We've always been able to at home. This season, at least, we are now able to give them a game when we're on the road, away. So plenty to be optimistic about, for sure. But certainly, as the boys there were mentioning, Murphy is capable of keeping us up, if that really is what the conversation is about here and now, relegation, capable of keeping us up on his own. He is that good. Or, to coin the phrase of the day, pivotal. Northern Ireland boss Michael O'Neill has been talking about Mackenzie Kirk and the possibility that he may soon establish himself as a full-blown international centre-forward.
He's a young player who has played well in the 21s. Mackenzie is one that we could have thought about for this camp, though I personally think he would be better developing further in the 21s for another camp. But equally, he's available if you need to call him in. You've got to remember a lot of Mackenzie's minutes at St Johnstone were off the bench. Portsmouth have paid a fee for him, and he's got the opportunity to start maybe 2 or 3 games in the last 2 or 3 weeks. His time will definitely come, and his time will come quickly if he can stay in and around Portsmouth's team. I think it's only a matter of time before Mackenzie's going to get that opportunity.
Northern Ireland boss Michael O'Neill talking about Mackenzie Kirk, and he has looked sharp, hasn't he? With the playing time when he's out there, he has looked sharp with the playing time that he's had. He's looked sharp, and we need sharp. We need strong, we need intelligent, we need a good hold-up player. He may still be growing into some of those last 2 or 3 roles, but growing he is, and he certainly has got some of the absolute key basics, which is speed, good control, and he's not afraid to shoot, and he knows where the back of the net is. And whether Northern Ireland or not need him as a starting number 9, it's just possible that we do at this moment in time, until we can once again rely on the always reliable Colby Bishop to find his full form and start banging in a goal every one or 2 games, which is what he's perfectly capable of doing. And you don't lose that chewing flavour in your chewing gum overnight. It's there, it's lurking there. Whatever it is that's needed to unlock it, whether it's a tiny bit more confidence or just a tiny bit more luck, which plays a big part in football, especially for the person in the number 9 shirt, time will tell. Bishop will be back to his best. There's probably absolutely no doubt about it. In the meantime, let's see whether we can bring on somebody who might be just a great find in Mackenzie Kirk.
2 Portsmouth fans who posed as stewards to watch the South Coast derby against Southampton in September have been banned from football matches for 3 years, Hampshire police have confirmed. The 2 brothers, Kane Green 29 and Dale Green 31, carried high-vis vests and radio equipment to complete the steward look and were able to access restricted areas for the sold-out derby. They both pleaded guilty to fraud by false representation and going on to playing area of a football match at Southampton Magistrates Court, resulting in the 3-year banning order, as well as a £700 fine each. Assistant Chief Constable Tony Rowlinson said, "This was a ridiculous plot to try and see the game, despite knowing tickets were sold out, and those without tickets would not be getting in. They clearly came with the intention to get into the stadium illegally, bringing high-vis vests with steward on the back, with one even carrying a radio and earpiece. Their actions have seen them face very serious consequences in court today, and for 2 people who were so desperate to see this one game, they will now not be able to go to any other for 3 years." The much-anticipated fixture ended in a 0-0 draw, with both sides struggling near the foot of the championship table.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the story, and they've been clobbered. A 3-year ban from watching presumably all professional football matches in the 4 big divisions, I guess, maybe beyond. And a £700 fine each is well and truly clobbered. I think there's no defence in, well, it was just kind of a high-level prank. It was a joke. It was a bit of bravado. It was a little bit of, if I get away with this, I'll be the cock of the walk for life. I'll be a legend. They'll be talking about me in hallowed terms. Tones even, 100 years from now, about the 2 guys who. There's that legendary story about the time when the Pompey away fans knew that they were going to be turned back if they went to Bristol, I think it was, to watch a Pompey game at Bristol. And so they hired wedding suits and even had invitations printed to a non-existent wedding. And when they arrived at Bristol station, the police let them through because they clearly weren't football fans. They were all dressed all smart with white carnations on their lapels and smelling of brute. But they got to the game, and of course they posed for the compulsory photographs, and it went down in folklore. Was it illegal? I think it's probably illegal to break a police ban. Did they get away with it? To the best of my knowledge, they did. But they did indeed go down in history in some sort of convoluted folklore. With things so delicately poised between triumph and disaster in terms of the integrity of the game when Pompey play Southampton, They were taking a bigger risk than that to their own finances and freedom to watch football. They were taking a risk, arguably, with all of our freedom to enjoy games like that under any circumstance. So we don't want games like that being played at neutral venues, for example, which is conceivable if things were to ever go horribly wrong. However, there will be plenty of Pompey fans and maybe one or two grudging Southampton fans who will say nice try to them. Not having met them, we can't comment on whether or not they are just a tad more than Jack the Lads, or whether they are, in old-fashioned terms, ne'er-do-wells. But they have been well and truly clobbered. We don't know the details as to how much of the match they got to see, how they got in. Do you just walk in if you're mistaken for a steward? Their disguise was fairly thorough, so they will have got so far. What gave them away is what we would be very interested in knowing. We have no reason to, beyond natural human curiosity. What gave them away? Did one of the stewards say, these guys are not one of us? Did a member of the public say, I think they might be Pompey fans, the way they just jumped up and down when Pompey went close, which we did on a couple of occasions? So those little pockets of the story we'd kind of like fleshed out. And if it becomes a piece of Pompey folklore, and you can't stop that happening amongst football fans, then perhaps we'll get some more details. Perhaps the two gentlemen themselves will somehow get their story out there so that at least we can fill in the gaps. So, there it is, Kane Green and Dale Green, banned for 3 years from watching football. Don't know how that's enforced, by the way. We'll come back to that another day. And fined £700 for posing as stewards, Southampton versus Portsmouth.